An Ohio lawmaker wants to protect Ohio State from the big bad flag plant. And we need to talk about why Ohio State fans did not ask for this, and college football did not ask for this, and what the ramifications of this being a felony can have on college football. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and like this video so that you can be one of the 121,000 folks who are notified when we drop a news segment, reacting to news, reacting to games. That's what we do most of the time here. Is we're topical. We like to stay on it every now and again. I get a while out here where I want to do half an hour about this or that. But today, I really want to talk about Josh Williams' House Bill 700 that has come to the Ohio State legislature a little bit late in the game, which is probably for the best and probably speaks to when this is coming out. But for those of y'all that are living underneath that particular rock, Michigan beat Ohio State 13-10 at the shoe. It's a game that Ohio State was supposed to win. It's a game that Michigan was supposed to lose. That ain't how the script went. Okay? The script said Michigan gonna win, and at the end of every script, it has somebody planting a flag. Somebody is planting a flag almost everywhere now, right? And you got really two schools of thought on this. You have the folks that are going, yeah, all right, you lost. That's what happens when you lose. People pillage. People take the riches, the spoils. Spoils of war are us coming out here with a UM flag, dropping that in the middle of the shoe, right? That's one of those things that just happens. What had happened after that, we had not seen at that level of escalation. Ohio State players took umbrage to Michigan football players planting a flag in the middle of their house, and they picked a fight. And because these are big, strong, fast football players who throw punches, you had law enforcement not only need to step in, but need to use pepper spray to break up the fights, all right? Off of this, we've been talking about flag planting. We've been talking about both of these schools receiving a $100,000 fines from the Big Ten Conference for basically unsportsmanlike conduct. It can't get that far. I think everybody agrees on that, even knowing Ohio State hates Michigan and Michigan hates Ohio State. And the last thing you want to do in the world is lose to that team. And now there is an entire class of Michigan players that don't know losing to Ohio State. And there is an entire class of Ohio State players who only know losing to Michigan. That apparently is not enough. You have to rub it in everywhere you go. Again, I don't blame them for this, right? As the fallout for this has continued, Ohio State is going to host a home game against Tennessee, where they have been all but invited to plant a flag at Ohio State if they win, because they know how it's going to get under somebody's skin. And now Ohio State fans basically are being pushed back into a fight that they didn't ask for because, well, now from the halls of Ain't This Soft, we get this man, Josh Williams, wanting to turn this into a felony. Planting a flag at Ohio Stadium being a felony. Now, I should say Josh Williams' story is actually pretty outstanding. Dude's from Sylvania. He suffered a 30-foot fall, went back to get his GED and graduated from the University of Toledo Law, goes to run for state legislature, gets in there and making it happen. That's about where it ends for me on this, right? His story, his personal story, has got nothing to do with this House Bill 700, which prohibits planting a flagpole and flag at the center of Ohio Stadium football field on the day of a college football game, and to name this act the OHIO Sportsmanship Act. Again, I want to speak for most Ohio State fans who are going to say, we didn't want this. Stop that. This looks real soft. You making us look real weak right now. That's not what we want, right? They won. They planted a flag. We ain't got to like it. We going to rectify what we got to rectify here. We got a national championship we're trying to win here in the next 5-6 weeks. Why are you bringing more smoke to us that we didn't ask you to bring? And like all great ideas, he decided to take this to Twitter and tell everybody about it. And one of the things that Twitter is not going to do is suffer a fool or foolish behavior. He's not a fool. It's foolish behavior, right? I don't think that this went down the way he thought this was going to go down. And that is, frankly, got a lot to do with not going to Ohio State or knowing much about Ohio State fans and Ohio State fandom. There's a lot of things you can get away with. There's a lot of things you can do at Ohio State. There's a lot of things they're going to let slide. One of them is appearing weak, or excuse me, one of them is not appearing weak or appearing soft. They don't do that, right? Sometimes to their detriment. Matter of fact, the way that Ohio State lost this football game was trying to man ball Michigan when they really just should have been throwing it outside of Jeremiah Smith and Mekabuka and running up the score. Instead, they wasted a ridiculously good defensive performance on running the football into the teeth of what is one of the best defensive fronts in football this year. Mason Graham's going to go in the NFL draft. Kenneth Grant. Keep going down the line. Josiah Stewart. All you had to do was attack the corners where Will Johnson ain't. Where you got 4 and you got 2. You got Brandon. Oh my God. You got Brandon Ennis. You got Cornell Tate. There are other ways for you to lose this football game. And yet and still, Will Howard managed to throw interceptions in a game where I was like, dog, throw jump balls up to Jeremiah Smith. What are you doing right now? So I also wanted to get at this because how likely is this thing to pass? Well, that's the part that I think Ohio State fans are going to be blessedly aware. So the speaker, Jason Stevens, who is a Republican from Kitts Hill, he said, look, I don't think that this is going to make it out because it's going to, at the very end of like a 2-year General Assembly is next week. And any bills that don't pass by the end of the year would have to be reintroduced. And my man's quote to the Columbus Dispatch was, well, it's not going to have time to be passed. So, this late in the game. And I think, one, he's trying to cover for his mans because that's his mans. But he also was like, hey, dog, who did you run this past before you decided that this was a thing you needed to do? Because I don't know if you know this or not, but Ohio State's still playing football. And you got this thing coming up before Tennessee comes to town. And Tennessee is feeling some kind of way, right? Tennessee is feeling some kind of way because they don't want to go on the road, specifically in December, to Ohio State to play a football game. Because don't nobody want to go on the road to play a football game in December north of the Mason-Dixon line. It's cold. It's real cold. But they know that if they beat Ohio State, they get to say it over and over again forever. And this is a game for which I'm picking Ohio State. It's a game for which Ohio State wants vindication at its house, at Ohio Stadium, this very unique opportunity to get a win in December at the shoe against an SEC power. Perhaps not, as I said, a blue blood before. I think of them as a blue blood. You can differ with me on this. But I think of Tennessee as being a really great and sound football program. Let's agree on that. And I think them playing Ohio State is going to be a fantastic way to celebrate and start the first round of the college football playoff. To say nothing of what this would mean when you go to Michigan next year, right? Like, you're able to win a national championship. Michigan's still going to say, yeah, but you can't beat us, and you didn't go 15-0, so what's the point of that? To which you would like to walk in there with a national championship banner, not needing a Big Ten championship banner, not yet, to go up to Michigan and then plant a flag, right? And watch their state legislature freak out because, well, it escalated to what it was escalating to. I don't see the win here for the state legislator. I don't think that he sees it either because he didn't return a call for comment from the Columbus Dispatch because I think all at once, everybody's like, hey, man, sit down somewhere. Sit down somewhere and let the football people handle the football, okay? Handle the state legislature, right? Handle that. Handle being from Sylvania, okay? Handle that. Don't go handling Ohio State's business. That's what Ohio State is for. That's why it has got a alumni base that is ridiculous. That's why it's one of the largest fan bases in the country because they know how to handle these sorts of moments and they don't really need your help. However, it also goes back to what kind of a predicament Ohio State is in. You spend $20 million on the roster to bring back a bunch of guys and to add a few more. You have built this thing to go win the national championship, which means also running through Michigan and running through the Big Ten championship, and you ain't do those other two things. This is all you got left. And now you have other people that are trying to help, but are trying to help in ways that you didn't ask them to help, and now everybody feels some kind of way. So I want to get out here, talk about why I don't think this is going to happen, but also try to talk some sense into some people that think this is a good idea and really represent the people that know that this is a bad idea.